Hi, my name is Jameel, and this is the Jameel Rawls Show. And today I'm gonna go over some schemes that intrigue me and intrigue my interest. Now, formerly, I was really interested in hardcore conspiracy research, and over the years, I've learned of such things like Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes, and I've come across some exciting, news articles I like to ponder into. One of the most interesting things going on out there in the world right now is, of course, cybercrime and our telephonic. You could say somebody called me telephonically instead of receiving an email. Somebody called me telephonically to commit a crime. Now, this gets into Nigerian scam artists, and by no means am I picking on people from Nigeria or the Nigerian people. That is just the title that's become famous around the world for this sort of thing. But it happens in India, there's people in the United States doing it, all over the world doing it. And I came across an interesting article relating to the Nigerian scam artist techniques in India, and there's something called phone spoofing, where an individual can use other numbers to call you for whatever reason. There's been people out there who can actually use the local sheriff's phone number, they can use the IRS phone number, and they will call you and make you believe the IRS is speaking to you, and they're not the IRS, but they have mimicked the IRS phone number. And it gets pretty sophisticated. These people have scam centers, and like any criminal plot, they don't want to get caught, so they have all sorts of pre-planned stories in case of an event of investigation. And so I came across an article, dozens indicted in multi-million dollar Indian call center scam targeting U.S. victims. And this is out of Houston, and this is, of course, covered under financial crimes. But it says Houston, 61 individuals and entities have been charged via an indictment unsealed Thursday for their alleged involvement in a transnational criminal organization. So you don't see that very often, that somebody has been indicted in a transnational criminal organization that victimized tens of thousands of people in the United States, resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, Office of Inspector General, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security Investigations, and the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. Wow, boy, they're tallying it up, aren't they? The TIGTA led the investigation. In anytime you're reviewing an article or you're reading court transcripts or you're going over any sort of case, anytime you see that many federal agencies collectively coming together, something's going to go down no matter what, because the government doesn't invest that much into a subject or an activity without a return on their investment. So they put that much energy out, they want a return on that. Somebody's going to at least pay some court costs. There may be some hospital bills or there might be some hospital bills behind that. In connection with the scheme, law enforcement arrested 20 individuals in the United States Thursday, and 32 individuals and 5 call centers in India were charged for their alleged involvement. An additional U.S.-based defendant is currently in the custody of ICE. U.S. Attorney Kenneth Magidson, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Assistant Attorney General Leslie R. Caldwell of the Justice Department's Criminal Division, Executive Associate Director Peter T. Edge of HSI, Inspector General J. Russell George of TIGTA, and Inspector General John Roth of the DHS OIG made the announcement today. This indictment will serve to not only seek the conviction of those involved, but will send a message around the world that no one is safe from prosecution for participating in such pervasive transnational fraud schemes, said Magidson. We are extremely vigilant when the names of U.S. government agencies are used to perpetuate fraud for the purpose of victimizing so many innocent Americans. Yeah, boy, that you gotta have some balls right there to be perpetrating to purposely be perpetrating a federal agent or a federal agency. That takes balls. The indictment we unsealed and the arrests we made today demonstrate the Justice Department's commitment to identifying and prosecuting the individuals behind these impersonation and telefraud schemes. We seek to profit by exploiting some of the most vulnerable members of our communities, said Cadwell. This is a transnational problem and demonstrates that modern criminals target Americans both from inside our borders and from abroad. Only by working tirelessly to gather evidence, build cases, and work closely with foreign law enforcement partners to ensure there are no safe havens, we can effectively address these threats. So, identity fraud is a growing issue in this country, in the United States of America, and it's a growing issue abroad, I'm sure, in many other countries. So, you know, if I was if I was a teacher, or if I worked in a company or a business, and I really wanted to get a handle on sophisticated fraud schemes, especially dealing with identity, I would look into the Nigerian scam artist cases, and there's varying versions of that. Like when you deal with a criminal element, there's varying. It's like a pie. You can take a criminal element, and then you have lower degree of crime, such as an individual meeting an older woman on a dating site and bamboozling her out of a lot of money, all the way up to more sophisticated crime, such as phone cloning, like Ponzi scheme type activity. It varies. So when you say Nigerian scam artist, it can be anything from some guy, on his mom's computer over in Nigeria trying to bamboozle an older woman out of some money, to somebody doing some very sophisticated criminal activity. And this is an interesting article, and I don't hear very much about Nigerian scam artists on television or in the newspaper. You never really hear anything about it. That's what kind of tried to pique my interest. And again, not blaming the Nigerians, because I know that's kind of like a catchphrase, Nigerian. It could be people in India, anywhere. It happens here in this country. There's people using phone spoofing in this country. Like, there's people who pretend to be law enforcement and call people and try to get fines and all kinds of money. And I'm going to read another section. This multi-agency 3-year investigation illustrates the ability of federal, state, local agencies to successfully leverage resources, communicate, and work together to achieve justice. And you better believe, like, this is a splinter investigation, because they just said this when you there's within investigator, the world of investigations, you have something called a spin-off investigation. So if somebody took enough energy and time to put this together and say this multi-agency 3-year investigation illustrates the ability of the federal, state, and local agencies to successfully leverage resources, there's going to be a bunch of spin-off investigations. Meaning they closed in, they built a case and they zeroed in on their investigation, but then you're going to have several spin-off investigations. Like next week, next week, the India jewelry scheme. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna. I bet you these it's gonna be a lot more stuff in the future coming out of this. The Federal Communication Commission's Enforcement Bureau provide assistance in TIGTA's investigation. Assistant U.S. Attorney Craig Fezzle prosecuting case along with Senior Trial Attorney Hope. Damn, they're going all out. The Criminal Division of Human Rights, Special Prosecution. This is an interesting article. So again, I know there's not too much information online about Nigerian scam artists and phone spoofing and whatnot, and by no means am I an expert on the subject, but I'm familiar in some capacity with the subject, and I encourage people who are interested in identity theft and stuff, definitely study Nigerian scams on the Jameel Rawls Show.